Maybe. Okay. Hmm?
And then when they have to I guess it's historical because there is no taken. So in coconut again we will see them first. It will have a nice texture. It's not real. I think so. So I thought that I put some. I put
Which was
21, 31, 32. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Jeva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Todemudiyaya Asta Praisa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Naistike. So we are continuing Canto 3, the status quo. Chapter 21, conversation between Manu and Kardama, text 32.
Sahaham swam sakalaya.
Sahaham swam sakalaya.
Tadviryena mahamune.
Tadviryena mahamune.
Tava kshetre devahutyam.
Tava kshetre devahutyam.
Praneshe tattva samhitam.
Praneshe tattva samhitam.
O great sage, I shall manifest my own plenary portion through your wife Devahuti, along with your 9 daughters, and I shall instruct her in the system of philosophy that deals with the ultimate principles or categories. Papa writes in the purport, the word Swansa Kalaya indicates that the Lord would appear as the son of Devahuti and Kardama Muni, as Kapila Deva, the first propounder of the Sankhya philosophy, which is mentioned here as Tattva Sanghita. Of course, we are not talking about the deviant Kapila, just one who is deviant. We are talking about the godly Sankhya philosophy. In the next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, ordinary living entities are called Vibhinnangsha, expansions. And the unlimited expansions of Vishnu Tattva, such as Vamana, Govinda, Narayana, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, and Ananta, are called Sansakala. Sansa refers to a direct expansion, and Kala denotes an expansion from the expansion of the original Lord. So basically there is no difference between his expansion and him. Just like there is no difference between Krishna and his Murti in the temple. Okay? Text 33.
मैत्रेय उवाच
मैत्रेय उवाच
एवं तम् अनुभाष्यात
Vampires are toxic like that. Huh? Too much thorns, poison, like that. So there are pious animals, impious, pious birds, impious birds, like that. Okay, text 41.
मत्तद्विजगणयकुष्टम् मत्तभ्रमरविभ्रमम् मत्तवर्षेण तातोकम् आह्वयन्मत्तकोकिलम्
The area resounded with the notes of overjoyed birds. Intoxicated bees wandered there. Intoxicated peacocks proudly danced, and merry cuckoos called one another. So this place, Bindu Sarovar, is very special place, very auspicious. So every living entity there is very advanced or pious. So the impious entities don't like this kind of things. They stay away from such places. Text 42 and 43.
कदम्ब चम्पकाशोक राञ्जबकुलासनैः
कुञ्जमन्दारकुजैः
चूटपोतैरलङ्कृतम् आनन्दवैः प्लवैर्हंसैः मुरारैर्जलकुक्कुटैः सारसैश्चक्रवाकैश्च चकोरैर्वल्गुकूजितम्
Lake Bindu Sarovara was adorned by flowering trees such as Kadamba, Champaka, Ashoka, Karanja, Bakula, Asana, Kunda, Mandara, Kutaja, and young mango trees. The air was filled with the pleasing notes of Karandavadi ducks, plovers, swans, ospreys, waterfowl, cranes, chakravakas, and chakoras. Prabhupada writes there, for most of the trees, flowers, fruits, and birds mentioned here surrounding Bindu Sarovara Lake, English synonyms cannot be found. Sometimes you see there's no translation. But otherwise, he says the same thing as previously. All the trees are pious and they produce wonderful aroma. Just like all the animals there also, including the birds. Text 44.
तथैव हरिणैर्गोदैः स्वावेद्रवया कुञ्जरैः गोपुच्छैर्हरिभिर्मर्कैर् नकुलैर्नाभिभिर्वृतम्
Its shores abounded with deer, boars, porcupines, gavayas, elephants, baboons, lions, monkeys, mangooses, and musk deer. So again, so many different type of animals are there. Text 45 to 47.
प्रविश्यततीर्थवरम् आदिराजसहात्मजः प्रदर्श मुनिमासीनम् तस्मिन् हुतासनम् विद्योतमानं वपुषा तपसि उग्रयुजाचिरम् नातिक्षमं भगवतः स्निग्धापाङ्गावलोकनात् तद्व्याहृतामृताकाल पीयूषश्रवणेन च भ्रांसुं पद्मपलाशाक्षम् जटिलं चिरवाससम् उपसंस्मृत्य मलिनम्
उपसंसृत्य मलिनम्
यथार्हणम् असंस्कृतम्
emaciated. For the Lord had cast his affectionate sidelong glance upon him, and he had also heard the nectar flowing from the moonlight words of the Lord. The sage was tall, his eyes were large, like the petals of a lotus, and he had matted locks on his head. He was clad in rags. Swayambhuva Manu approached and saw him to be somewhat soiled, like an unpolished gem. He's coming to see Kardama Muni to give his daughter, and so this scene is to show us that, it's nothing to do with the external condition of a person, rather it's their heart and the quality they have. Essentially here, a Krishna conscious quality. And also, like an unpolished gem means he has, the qualities are there, you can't see it. Like that. Sometimes you mine some jewelry, right? They may look very nice, but they may have to be cut. Hey, you too. No more talking. Okay, so in the purport, Prabhupada talks about the brahmachari austerities and what they need to do. But towards the end, the comparison of the sage, Prabhupada writes, the comparison of the sage to an unpolished gem is very appropriate. Even if a gem just taken from a mine looks unpolished, the luster of the gem cannot be stopped. Similarly, although Kardama was not properly dressed and his body was not properly cleansed, his overall appearance was gem-like. So his potency can be seen. His quality shines through even though he is not dressed properly. Text 48.
अतोतजम् उपायातम्
अतोदयम् उपायातम्
देवं प्रणतं पुरः
देवं प्रणतं पुरः
सपर्यया पर्यगृह्णात्
सपर्यया गृह्णात्
प्रतिनन्द्यानुरूपया
प्रतिनन्द्यानुरूपया.
Seeing that the monarch had come to his hermitage and was bowing before him, the sage greeted him with benediction and received him with due honor. Text 49.
गृहीतार्हणमासीनं
गृहीतार्हणमासीनं
संयतं प्रीणयान् मुनिः
संयतं प्रीणयान्मुनिः
स्मरन् भगवदादेशं
स्मरन् भगवदादेशम्
इत्याह श्लाक्ष्णया गिरा.
इत्याह श्लाक्ष्णया गिरा.
After receiving the sage's attention, the king sat down and was silent. Recalling the instructions of the Lord, Kardama then spoke to the king as follows, delighting him with his sweet accents. Text 50.
नूनं चक्रं मानं देव
नूनं चक्रवणं देव
सतां संरक्षणयाते
सतां संरक्षणायते
वधाय चासताभ्यस्त्वं
वधाय चास्ताभ्यस्त्वं
हरे शक्तिर्विपालिनी
हरे शक्तिर्विपालिनी.
The tour you have undertaken, O Lord, is surely intended to protect the virtuous and kill the demons, since you embody the protecting energy of Sri Hari. In the purport, Prabhupada explains how Kardama is talking to the king. So here he says, it appears from many Vedic literatures, especially histories like Srimad Bhagavatam and the Puranas, that the pious kings of old used to tour their kings in order to give protection to the pious citizens and to chastise or kill the impious. Sometimes they used to kill animals in the forest to practice the killing art, because without such practice they would not be able to kill the undesirable elements. Kshatriyas are allowed to commit violence in that way because violence for a good purpose is a part of their. You two can go behind. Go behind. It's not your coloring that's disturbing me. I can't. You're talking so much. Okay. So the duty of the king is explained, particularly how and what he needs to do, and also they are supposed to kill animals. They kill animals in the forest. Generally, they kill if the population of the wild animals is too much, because there are a lot of sages. They are practicing austerities and meditation. If there's too many wild animals, they'll disturb the sages. So the Kshatriya king is supposed to keep the population down. So that's what. At the same time, they're practicing their skill. Okay, and the animals who die when they're practicing also get some level of liberation from their animal form. They go to a higher level, higher forms. So Prabhupada says Kshatriyas are allowed to commit violence in that way because violence for a good purpose is a part of their duty. Here two terms are clearly mentioned: Vadaya, for the purpose of killing, and Asatam, those who are undesirable. The protecting energy of the king is supposed to be the energy of the Supreme Lord. So this is one of the reasons why the kings are also considered to be representatives of the Lord. In that way, because that is their job. They're supposed to represent. And then they are empowered accordingly to take care of their subjects, including animals and so on. So that's why Kardama Muni is saying, since you embody the protecting energy of Sri Hari. And in the end, Prabhupada says, in this age, it is very difficult to find such a head of state who's expert in killing the undesirables. Yeah, they just kill anybody. Whoever causes problems for them, they'll kill them. It's not a question of whether they're undesirable or desirable. Modern heads of state sit very nicely in their palaces and try without reason to kill innocent persons, which is true, right? Just bomb a city, Scud missiles, whatever missiles they can send, they will send. That is the position of the modern leaders. And they don't go personally also. They hide somewhere underground, bunker, nuclear blast area, right? Or they take an aircraft and go very high so nobody knows where they're hiding them. Anyway, that's how they are. They're not really interested in the welfare of the ordinary people.
Remembering one of the Prabhupada lecture was saying Bhagavad Gita, like people are saying, like one of the lectures saying like Bhagavad Gita about non-violence. Prabhupada is saying Bhagavad Gita is like talking about Arjuna's fighting for Krishna. So it doesn't say like non-violence. So
Yes.
we have to do sometime violence to protect the innocent civilians.
Yes, that's true. We have to do that. Not we, Kshatriyas. Next 15 minutes.
Yamadharma prachetasam
रूपाणि स्थान आदत्से
रूपाणि स्थान आदस्ये
तस्मै शुक्लाय ते नमः
तस्मै शुक्लाय ते नमः.
You assume, when necessary, the part of the sun god, the moon god, Agni, the god of fire, Indra, the lord of paradise, Vayu, the wind god, Yama, the god of punishment, Dharma, the god of piety, and Varuna, the god presiding over the waters. All obeisances to you, who are none other than Lord Vishnu. So he is a representative. For someone who's very qualified like Swayambhu Manu, you can pray like that to him, glorify him like that. The Prabhupada writes, since the sage Kardama was a Brahmana and Swayambhuva was a Kshatriya, the sage was not supposed to offer obeisances to the king, Brahmanas. But here, Kardama also offered. But he offered his obeisances to Swayambhuva Manu because, as Manu, king and emperor, he was a representative of the Supreme Lord. Really, not just, he is also himself a very highly evolved person. He is a pure devotee also. Yeah, Mahajan. The Supreme Lord is always worshipable, regardless of whether one is a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, or a Shudra. As the representative of the Supreme Lord, the king deserved respectful obeisances from everyone. So among devotees also, right? You pay respects to a devotee you consider deserves that. Otherwise, you will ignore that person. Right? But we are not supposed to ignore. You should pay obeisance to all devotees. Text 52 to 50. Yes.
In verse 49, when the king arrived, he sat down and was silent. Although he is the one who is coming to visit, but he sits down and he is first silent.
Out of respect to Kardama Muni, again there's a social etiquette, no? Yeah. So out of respect, he waited until Kardama spoke to him first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because he's a Brahma.
Yes. So they are very careful about this thing. Even you notice in when Parikshit Maharaj also, he didn't disturb the Muni's meditation, but he was annoyed that he wasn't talking to him, so he put that slide. But that's the etiquette, they wait for them. All right. Text 52 to 54.
नयदारतमास्थाय जैत्रं मणिगणार्पितं विस्फुराज्जच्छण्डको दण्डो कृपेनात्राय सामधान् स्वसैन्यचरणाक्षुण्णं वेपयन् मण्डलं भुवः विकर्षन् बृहतीं सेनां पर्यासस्यमुष्ममान् इव तदैव सेतवः सर्वे वर्णाश्रमनिबन्धनाः भगवद्रचितराजन् विद्येरन् भगतस्य दास्युभिः
If you did not mount your victorious jeweled chariot, whose mere presence threatens culprits, if you did not produce fierce sounds by the twanging of your bow, and if you did not roam about the world like the brilliant sun, leading a huge army whose trampling feet cause the globe of the earth to tremble, then all the moral laws governing the varnas and ashramas created by the Lord himself would be broken by the rogues and rascals. Glorifying the king. So again in the Prabhupada talks about the different ashrams and how the kings meant to protect these ashrams and who is qualified to do that as well. At the end of the purports, Prabhupada writes, at the present moment, the entire world is in this deplorable condition because of giving rights to so many interests, right? So many interest groups. This is due to the degradation of the 4 castes of varnas and ashrams. So no more any more castes ultimately is lost. So we have the 5th caste also right now. Not man, not woman, not woman, not woman, man, all these different ashrams are coming. So that's why Prabhupada is saying it's a deplorable condition. Then how can you have peace and spiritual advancement? It's not possible. So the system is there for a reason so that we can progress in the mode of goodness. Ultimately to spiritual realization, Vasudeva Sattva. And then we are able to go back to Godhead. Simply by supporting each ashram, okay, the Shat and the Varnas, and then the Vaishyas and the Sudras, they support. The Vaishyas do the business, and then the Shudras, they give labor to the others. So it's a perfect system. But if you toss it around and keep changing it, then the whole thing becomes deplorable. They're all degraded. And then you can't really be successful in the goal of what society is meant to function for. There's no more goal. This basically comes to sense enjoyment or living the life of an animal. Remember previously Prabhupada was saying, eating, mating, sleeping, defining. That becomes the focus. How much I can eat, how much I can sleep, how many times I can mate, and how much I can defend. So much I want to defend. So the whole thing is meaningless. But once you have spiritual life, you see how Karda Muni is talking to the king. It's so nice and sweet.
Yeah.
And you like people to talk to you nice and sweetly also. And you want to have a trust, right? How in present society, you can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
It has become like you go to the shops, you know the guy is cheating you already, right? And then you just, okay, I need it, so I'll get it. And then you meet somebody in the street, you can't trust. Even when they come and ask you directions, you're wondering, will the guy beat me up? Will the guy shoot me?
Yeah.
Right? There's so much fear going on. That's why Prabhupada says, at the moment, everything's deplorable. Can't trust anybody. Right? Every month, there's some school kids are shooting. Doesn't matter how much you try to avoid, it's happening, and it will continue like that. Therefore, we should push chanting text 55.
In ISKCON, we
ISKCON.
talk of an ashram system, so we talk of the 4 ashrams, but we don't promote varnas. Right? Is that
At the moment, that's the best they can do, no? The varnas are, as I said before, everyone has a certain nature. And if everyone is truthful, you can do that. Some people are very strong, they can do physical work. Some people cannot do anything. Some people can use their intelligence and help. Some people like to control. The problem in our society, because we are young and we really don't understand a few of the other things, we tend to want to be the controller of everything. Everyone comes with that controlling tendency. So therefore, who's the controller in a Varna ashram system? It should be Kshatriyas. So everybody wants to be Kshatriyas, but they also want to be Brahmanas.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, most of us are Shudra, predominantly Shudra and some Vaishya ability. So what happens is they end up fighting. Na? Prabhupada says Vaishyas and Shudras always fight. So he says the Americans are Vaishyas, the Russians are Shudras. So they're always fighting. Cold War. In those days. But that's what the situation is. But as devotees, we should see where your nature's dragging you. And then you should say, yeah, I'm like that, so I should work according to that. Yeah. So if your nature is more like a Shudra, that you work better if somebody tells you what to do, then fine, it's actually the best position. Safest position. People tell you what to do, you do, because you use your intelligence.
It's very conducive to devotional service.
And it's very conducive to devotional service. Actually. But everybody wants to be the Kshatriya, Acharya, controller. That mood has to give up. We want to give up. We just want to be. That's why we say Dasa Anudasa, Dasa Anudasa. That one. Gopi Bharta Padakamani Dasa Dasa. You want to serve Krishna, who's existing in, ever existing in brilliance. He's the one.
In the beginning we are Das and Das, then later we become Das, then Prabhu, then Madhav.
Yeah, but we come the movement only, we are Prabhus. We don't want to be a dasa. I mean, it's a problem. We have to accept that and do give it up. Let me see how best I can support the institution, the group, cooperate one another. You know, the more you think like that, the better for you in the end. If you don't think like that, then the only other choice is to control. No? Anyway, that's our situation.
So there is sort of like a difference between how within ISKCON Varnas or the ashrams are. Well, in Varnas, as you say, this kind of introspection we have to do ourselves.
Yeah, well, it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Then once you become more and more Krishna conscious, right, you become more Brahminical.
Yeah.
It's forced upon us to be Brahminical. And then when you are Brahminical, then you can help others to situate properly, the greater society, so to speak. At the moment, we really don't think seriously about these things. You find many of times, many temples, they need somebody to fix the problems. They will get someone who's actually a
Consultant.
no, I mean in terms of Varna. No, they have Kshatriya qualities, but they are generally Vaishyas.
I heard.
Huh? They are predominantly, because who's going to pay the bill? How to pay the bill, right?
It is the main,
Huh?
The money
it's the main concern.
Exactly, it becomes the money, becomes anyway. It's an issue we have to all think about.
I heard in one class that in the Devi Varnashram system, higher or lower is not just based on the Varna. It is more like everyone follows the same culture of Krishna consciousness, whether it's Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra. Higher or lower is more based on your level of consciousness.
Yeah, definitely.
And surrender to the Lord.
Yes.
So it is more Kanishta, Madhyam, or Uttama.
Yes.
That is higher or lower. Nobody is discriminated based on what service they are doing. That is the Varna.
Yeah, nobody is. The point you have
But
to
then that
understand
is our
is
we come with that mindset.
what mindset.
That we are higher or lower based on what work we are doing for Krishna.
Well, most of the time we think we are higher than the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Who is thinking I'm lower than the other guy when you join the movement? So that's itself is the beginning itself is wrong. And then how do you train new people who come in to think that they are not high? You never do that because you're afraid they'll run away. So it's a lot of issues you need to actually, you have to first take the position and then the others will want to emulate that in a sense. And then you can guide others. And generally who people look up to, if the person has some potency, some Shakti, some elevation, right? Then everyone will guide it to that person. And then they'll say they'll listen, like they'll surrender in that aspect like that. So then if you really want to help out, then you also must set example, no? What disciple means what? Yeah, that means one who's going to be disciplined. Yeah. And a good disciple makes a good guru. Yeah. Otherwise, how can you be qualified?
disciple discipline.
Yeah.
They can
Yes.
Good follower is a good leader.
Yes. A good follower is a good leader.
In order to become a leader, you have to be a follower.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, how yes, particularly for us, right? Because we cannot change the whole thing. So therefore, you have to be a good follower of Prabhupada as well as the movement, the guru and so on. The teachings must be there. Now, aside from that, who can manage? Someone who has that Kshatriya ability can manage best. So that will have to be trained. People have to be trained. And the only way you can do that is, it's not going to happen because our movement is young still. If you look at the greater picture, right, it will take a while before we can sort all these things. But it's happening. I'm sure it's happening. I'm sure our leaders are thinking about all these things. I mean, it's coming up because if it's coming up here, I'm sure they've been thinking about it. So they are trying their best also. But at the moment, we are all like mixed castes, mixed varnas. But it can be sorted out if you are Krishna conscious. That's the key.
But Prabhupada just says like if a devotee come into ISKCON, whether he's doing service in bathroom cleaning or kitchen or deity worship, but if he is connected with the Krishna in that servitor mood, then they all can be elevated. They all can go back to Godhead.
Yeah, in the ashram. Because a lot of problem is there, right? A lot of people feel that they don't know what they're meant to do, because they're not advanced in their spiritual side. So on the material aspect, they want to know what to do, so at least they are in the mode of goodness. And so they have difficulty adopting the philosophy to practice in their lifestyles. So that's what she's asking. How do you say someone is Vaishya? How do you say someone is Shudra? How do you say someone has Kshatriya quality? It's a difficult thing. If someone were to come and tell you, oh, you're only Shudra, how do you take it? Are you mature enough to say, yeah? So if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramananda Rai is considered to be a Shudra, but he is a pure devotee. So therefore, Krishna consciousness is higher than the Varna and Ashram. Okay. But one has to be placed according to his Varna, so that he feels safe. He doesn't feel anxiety. So most of the time, you'll find in your life, you're always in anxiety because you're not properly situated.
Today we were reading in Gajendra Moksha, the fight between the crocodile and the elephant. Prabhupada writes from that. The crocodile was the animal of the water. So he was getting energy and he was being strong over it. But the elephant was not.
No, it's
so
not
he
his
was losing
meaning.
his energy.
Exactly. So same thing, if you're not properly situated, you will not be able to focus on the spiritual side properly.
Because we are not pure devotees.
Yeah.
We can't directly go there.
Exactly. We are not yet on that level of pure devotion. And we are not willing to give up and take up pure devotion service.
So the Varna is one side, but the ashrama, which is more clearly delineated.
Yeah.
In one sense. But even within that,
You
as a
still need,
grahastha, let's say
you have to do something.
Unless we are properly situated as a grahastha,
you can't.
Within family relationships or financially, etc., it's anxiety.
That's what I'm saying. So we have that thing, and I'm saying, first of all, if individually you can see where you are at, then you help collectively. You don't have to have an avatar coming and telling you are this, you are this. Even if the avatar comes, you won't accept.
Yeah.
Because we are so, against someone telling our ego is so big. That's my point. So we have to train. The only way you can get purified is if you do your sadhana properly. And if you do your sadhana properly, it will tell you where you are at. What your consciousness is at, what your mood is, what your varna is, and so you will know. I'm not making this up. You will know.
Some senior devotee would
know. No, yeah, but you may not accept the senior devotee unless you are surrendered to them, and then you accept. But my point is same. If you have an ego, if I say you're foolish, can you accept? It's very hard. The only person you will listen is your guru. Oh yeah, guru say I'm foolish, it's okay. But if someone who you think you are, right? Inside you're boiling.
Mercy, when Guru says it's over,
that's the point. Like when Guru says we really try to accept it, and somebody says we're trying to.
Yeah, but that's what level?
Kanishta
level.
You only see
the deity, which you can say again. You look at your life and say, I only go temple and I see my guru and I stay away. you know where you are at.
No, I was probably a very good lecture on this, like seeing just Guru and Krishna.
Yeah.
And just thinking of that is my world.
Yeah, that's Kanishta. Continue. I mean, this you can bring it up. There are people who have actually done research and studied. The more intelligent people than I who can really tell you how the Varna and Ashram can be set up. So, yeah. Continue.
Adharmascha samedheta Shayane tvayi Dasya grashto vinakshati.
If you gave up all thought of the world situation, unrighteousness would flourish. for men who hanker only after money would be even at that. This is at Satya Yuga time,
Yeah.
how true this is, and that's because there's no training anymore, and all they know, as I said again, is sense. Based on senses, and it makes sense to put others down and get their money off because it's based on one sense, and therefore they lack like that. So therefore, Prabhupada says this institution that we have, the 4 Varna and 4 ashrams, are there for regular training principles for different classes of men. Because we need all the different types of men. But they must be trained how to do those things, right? And they must, when they are trained, they will be very happy and proud of their position. And they won't feel any other position. They won't hanker for this position. So now you get people who are Shudras, but they only want to be an engineer, prime minister, all this position. It makes no sense because they don't understand. For example, you take the physicians nowadays, right? And you compare, I don't know, some of you can, but I can compare 40, 50 years like that. So you can see the difference. The mood at that time was to help, and it's a service industry.
Very noble.
It's a noble cause, yeah. And in fact, in their thing where they have to,
Both.
the oath they do, it says exactly, it's a service. But now it's not a service anymore, it's a business. So that's exactly what it is. Because for men who hanker only after money would be unopposed. So that's exactly what everybody.
Yeah, I can remember, Prabhu, like when I was very, very small,
Hmm.
whenever we used, like, somebody gets sick in our home, we used to go to a doctor. His name is Pakala.
Hmm.
He's a Mangalorean guy,
Hmm.
but he was so good
Hmm.
that, like, he will take money, like his fees and everything, whatever. But he used to really care, actually, like care for us. And when he used to go to his clinic, he used to drop at our home, like if he had given medicine 2-3 days before,
He'll
and
come
he
and
would
check.
actually come and check. And then he was like a family member.
Right.
That time, no phone, nothing, right? So
Mm.
we used to just go near his clinic, and he was taking care. So I can still remember him.
Mm.
He's unfortunately passed away.
Yeah. Those are they know why they are doing the service. The service like that. But now it's not. Every single person, you see, engineers they want money, medical practitioners money, electricians money, lawyers money, right? Right? Which occupation? Teachers money. Without money, don't talk. Put your money where your mouth is, or you ain't saying damn thing. That's how it is. That's how it is. So that's why Prabhupada says such miscreants would attack and the world would perish. So you can see how one country attacks another country. It's just to make more money, exploit their exploitation. Yeah. So in the Prabhupada, at the end, Prabhupada says, it is clearly stated herein that unless there is the vigilance of a strong king, impious, unqualified man will claim a certain status in society, and that will make the social order perish. Oh, that's what we are seeing. Text 56.
So it's sort of important, I think he's saying how the head actually
Yeah.
of this whole society
Yeah.
can make the difference.
Yeah. That's why the Kshatriya and Brahmanas are the most important.
Most important.
Yeah.
And then they went down.
Then everything, which is what the problem is.
Prabhupada every time mentions like the leaders should take up Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
He requests, right? Anyway, never
Yeah.
get a chance. He speaks on that.
But if you cultivate Krishna consciousness, automatically you will know what is the right and wrong thing to do. That's why Prabhupada pushed the spiritual aspect first, because that is important. By pursuing spiritual aspect, you will become qualified to help others.
So one of the lecture was also saying that ultimately it comes down to whom you follow, you accept as a leader. Basically, like everyday life also, if we accept Prabhupada as a leader, then we follow.
Okay.
If you follow someone else, then we go away.
Yes, that is true.
I was thinking, just a quick one,
Yeah.
from even from within the temple and a service perspective,
Yeah.
one of the things I'm thinking for myself, even whenever I discuss the thing that we are ready to do. But in general, if people try to just introspect and say, okay, this is what I can
Yeah, it's
connect
two
with
things.
more, then
Yeah.
I'm more likely to be, enthusiastic and doing it in a nicer way. A little bit like Varnam.
Yeah.
Like what you were saying.
Yeah, but there's two things though. One is what you said is true. There's two things you said. One is just don't do all the things when it comes, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is you do what you like to do. So
Yeah.
there's also problems in both situations. If you say you like to do, then you may say I only like to do once, 1 week or once a month like that.
Yeah.
So that's a problem in
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, you're right. You have to do something that enthuses you.
Yeah,
That's correct. But one has to be at that level to say, yeah, qualified. So you need someone to tell you it's good for you to do this. Yeah. And the other thing is, if you have so much to do and you feel that you're not going to do a helper, that is also a disservice instead of a service. Yeah. So the greater good has to be in view also.
I didn't catch the last point. Yeah. The last point is
That even if there is service to do and if you don't do,
Yeah.
then it's a disservice.
yeah. So we have to be make ourselves available to do
At the
whatever is
yeah,
needed.
so when there's an emergency,
Then do anything.
maybe yeah you can do, but again, for coming to your point, you may not be able to do it for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But you can only do it, and then you may have to find alternative ways. Yeah.
It's always guidance system.
Guidance system must be there. But
Janani was asked this question.
Yeah.
He said like the problem in doing what you like to do is you get attached to it, and then your dependency on Krishna because you're good at it becomes lesser, and the chances of dependency on Krishna. Whereas when you do something which is you don't like to do, then the dependency on Krishna is much.
Yeah, that is true also.
And then,
So that's why I say
there
that.
are other aspects.
Yeah.
but this one also demonstrates, like I've seen Harivas Prabhu, like once he was telling me at least, like a devotee should be always ready to do anything for Krishna. So once he was telling me, go to restaurant, drop now, don't sit on class. So Bhagavad Gita class also he was taking. So you go and do it. So it's like, and sometimes he'll say, okay, now I wanted to serve, like I was taking college. No, you have to clean outside, it's too much work. So he was saying like for devotee should be always flexible to do what is needed to be done,
Yeah.
and ready to take as connection
Yeah.
to the service. Not that okay, I'm puja, just I want to do worship, or just I want to cook my family.
Yeah, so that's what we are saying. If there's something you have to do,
Stage
you
should
have
come.
to be able to do. But to do that, you must be advanced.
Yeah, means able to accept and
You have to
that's
be
the other
mature.
Because initially it's
Maturity
possible
should be
you,
there.
you try to engage people in things they may not like, and they may not, at least if they like something, they're likely to do it a little more.
But
So there are
then
many-
the qualification has to be there. Like I was reading one article by one devotee, and she was telling that someone may like to teach very much, but they may be
Bad teacher.
a very hateful person. They may have very good qualities of teaching, so they may have very hateful ideas towards the world, towards the people. So they'll be good at teaching those ideas. So it's not just what you're good at or what you like to do. The qualification also has to be there. And if it's not there, then we try to get purify ourselves.
But it is not that Prabhu by doing service that Krishna purifies that person's heart or give that.
You are saying all this. How much are you doing like that?
No, Prabhu.
Right?
I've
No, I'm
seen-
saying all the time we say, when we do, our qualities will get big, and so. But then when time comes for us to do, how much are we doing it?
Yeah, means Krishna tested on the way when we're doing it,
Right.
always some service, and we feel then we always pray.
I mean, again, you are just quoting things, but I'm saying I want you all to be introspective, to think about your own life. How much can you do? It's one thing to quote Prabhupada's shloka easily, but how much are we actually doing? You think how much in the last 6 years I've done. By the time you're 50, how much are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? Most of you should think, am I increasing or decreasing or just keeping status quo? And then we always can easily, we are so intelligent as devotees, we can find all the slokas to quote and say why we don't do certain things. So that is also not good. So I want you all to think about it. Bhagavatam allows you to really these issues. Help me out. Right? Look at what Kardama Muni did. He didn't just go and look for a girl, right? He approached the Lord and prayed, look, I have this thing. Help me out. And then same with Swayambhu Manu also. Same thing. He has a daughter. How did he know he has to come to Kardama Muni? Because we'll find out later on. He met somebody and they told him, and so he came. So there is system that they are willing to take. So we also have system. The perfect system is already there. But the point is we are all imperfect.
We're fooling ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you cover
We
yourself.
think we're fooling other people, but actually we're fooling.
Yeah. And that's why we can't really make tangible advancement. So that's why I want you all to think about how you can improve yourself. You know, it's not just say, okay, you know, this is what Prabhupada said. Yeah, Prabhupada says so many things, but what are we doing about? How are we helping each other? How are we helping ourselves? Right? Correct or not? But then at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, it's we who have to change.
Some like the, even if we are, say, if I'm able to see that I'm doing something wrong here, or my consciousness was not right, and all, to bring that transformation to what, you know, like I'm not talking at a, like again shloka level, but more like, you know, how do I think in that moment, and how do I make that change or pray for that change?
It's not going to be so easy like tomorrow I take a pill and then my headache goes away. It's not going to be like, you have to always come to that. What happens is, if you identify you have that, like you're saying at that moment, what am I? Initially you may not do the right thing, but if you reflect and think about it, that means you want to change.
Yeah.
So the Lord will guide you. He's in your heart. He's going to guide you. But provided you are sincere about it. Then the other thing, second thing is, are you chanting properly? Because if you chant properly, yeah, you can improve yourself also. It's a given. How else are we all going to go back? The biggest method for us is chanting. So how well am I chanting sincerely? Yeah. So this, I feel that if you really can focus on chanting nicely, whatever your bad qualities will improve. I mean, your good qualities will improve.
That one should
No,
subside.
but then also, again, it's chanting with introspection, not, or is it like, okay, if I'm able to sincerely chant, that means I am introspective.
Oh, it's the other way you can say is, if you're not doing something right, that means your chanting is not good.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I think if you chant really sincerely, it will automatically.
The opportunities will come, you will see. And then, why are the opportunities coming? Because you are chanting sincerely. Now that's your next test. Are you going to take action, or are you going to do the right thing when the opportunities present? Right? More often than not, we will say, I'm not really, you know, I'd rather go somewhere than to it's like sometimes, you know, you ask devotee to do service, for example, at the temple, because a lot of people don't want to do temple service. Maybe it's too difficult, okay. But the point is, you ask them, they say no. But then if they had to go to Ananda Mela, they all say yes, I want to go. Because then you don't have to bathe, you don't have to have any of those rigid rules to follow. So you can do whatever nonsense you want. So therefore, you tend to make choices that are bad because you don't listen to good advice. And the reason is, you're not chanting properly. Again, it comes on. And that also, that's one thing. And then, are you willing to listen to authority? Surrender means what? Right? So again, all this decision can happen if you are serious about your desire to go back to Godhead. Ultimately. Right? If you really want to go back to Godhead, then you have to do all the right things, right? Correct or not?
Yes, we cannot do few things good.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot do few things good and few things you don't like that. No, you cannot. Everything must be done perfectly. That's where the difficulty comes. So these choices that you cannot or can make. It may be easy, yeah, you can read all the Acharya's things, but the thing is, even if the Acharyas reveal to us, can you act on it? Right? We go to all the seminars and say, wow, so much you know, then you can verbally tell another person. But if you can't practice it, the potency is not so effective anyway.
So practice is very important.
Of course.
Application, then that will give the help you
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
example.
So our chanting is practice in the beginning, but it becomes a service. Yeah. When you know the seriousness, then you do it so seriously, then it's a service. Because you want to please the Lord, please your Guru. But now you're not thinking I'm pleasing Guru, pleasing the Lord, right? Finished around. Counting. Basically you're counting. It's important, that's what we are doing here. It's not so much as how deep I can break this verse and then show you the lotus inside or whatever. What is the value?
It's not Gyan.
Huh?
It's not Gyan.
Yeah, it's not Gyan. I'm not here for that. I want you all to think. And then some things are important, like, the king represents what? Administrative function, polity. So then you have to think, because you are in a society which are doing administrative and polity. So you have to think about that. Are they doing the right thing? How else can they do? How will I represent this for the common people who I meet in the road, in the street, or in the temple, right? So you have to know how to present so that it is palatable. Right? And for that to be palatable, are you presenting Krishna conscious yourself palatably? Are you behaving palatably? So sadachar is the most important, ultimately. So if you can perform your sadachar nicely, then people will want to be like us. That's what I feel. All right, 56.
Atapi pritchetvam veera.
Atapi pritchetvam veera.
Yadattam tvam ihadataha.
Yadattam tvam ihadataha.
Tadvayam nirvyalikena.
Tadvayam nirvyalikena.
Paripadyamahe hrida.
Paripadyamahe hrida.
In spite of all this, I ask you, O valiant king, the purpose for which you have come here. Whatever it may be, we shall carry it out without reservation. So here he's like,
You didn't jump and tell, I already know why you came.
he didn't jump and say, no. He didn't say, I know everything, why you are here. No, it's a, how would the king feel, that you know everything already, then why I waste my time, right? Anyway, there's an etiquette here. He knows.
He's asking how can I serve you?
Yes. And the main thing here is he's letting himself be vulnerable. Kardama, yeah, because he's saying, whatever it may be, we shall carry out without reservation.
I didn't understand Varma.
He's leaving himself for whatever the king is going to ask him. He say, I will try to help you.
If I have to get married, I will get married.
Yeah, if you want me to do something, I'll do. If you want me to go somewhere else, I'll go. That's vulnerable, right? If you go to someone and say, tell me whatever you want, I'll do.
Accept.
I'll accept it. That's what he says.
No, I'm saying I'll say accept for.
Yeah, we will say accept for this and this. He says, whatever you want, I'll do. Later on, he'll say, after he heard that, then he'll say, I will do it, but this is the exception. That's what Kardama, after he heard, then he'll give the exception.
Or we say, from whatever you ask me to do, I will do.
But
And
don't
then
ask
internally
me.
we pray. I hope he doesn't say like that.
It's like in a meeting, right? Everyone goes, yeah, we got to do, okay, who's the volunteer? Right? It's like that. Prabhupada says, when a guest comes to a friend's house, it is understood that there's some special purpose. Kadama Muni could understand that such a great king as Swayambhuva, although traveling to inspect the condition of his kingdom, must have had some special purpose to come to his hermitage. The sages used to go to the kings, and the kings used to visit the sages in their hermitages. Each was glad to fulfill the other's purpose. So the Kshatriyas and the Brahmanas were very close, so that they can help govern and protect the people there. This reciprocal relationship is called Bhakti Karya. There's a nice verse describing the relationship of mutual beneficial interest between the Brahmana and the Kshatriya. Shatram Dvijatvam. Shatram means the royal order, and Dvijatvam means a Brahminical order. The two were meant for mutual interest. The royal order would give protection to the Brahmanas for the cultivation of spiritual advancement in society. And the Brahmanas would give their valuable instruction to the royal order on how the state and the citizens can gradually be elevated in spiritual perfection. So you can say they work in tandem. That's very important. Nowadays we don't have, nobody's protecting the Brahmanas. They don't want to hear anything. Everywhere they are cutting down anything, any mention of God, we don't want to hear. Right? Right? Cannot be in the workplace, cannot be in school, cannot be in movies, cannot be in anything.
No, movies initially they used to hold them, they used
Yes, no more.
First, those movies used to be big hit.
Yes.
Anything portrayed
Yes.
in it,
Now no more. It's all gone.
right? But
Now if it's a porn, then it's a hit.
Oh,
Yeah. So no more. Nowadays it's no more.
That's pretty much.
Hmm?
That's pretty much there is no
No
social
place.
interaction.
No
Can't
more.
talk about God.
And now, and so much so, right? People don't hear about God. When you talk some religion, people don't like immediately.
yeah,
So how are you going to attract them?
by our own,
Prasadam.
One is prasadam, then
by our own behavior.
My own.
yeah, I keep emphasizing behavior. That means one main thing is you have to be friendly also with them,
Yeah.
kind, compassionate. You have to show all these things. If you don't show, then they will say this. You are just like us. What's the difference?
In the beginning, you will have to be ready to listen
Yes.
whatever they are saying.
Yes.
Be their friend.
It's a good experience.
You have an experience?
At work, like sometimes when there is some discussion going on and I really get angry, and some of my colleagues they say, "Oh,
You're a religious guy.
we can get angry."
Yeah, you
We
got
don't get
that. Yes, I know. A lot of devotees say that. Once they know you're a religious person, they think you must be a
Actually,
pacifist.
because they're all my friends, they tell,
Yeah.
"Hey, we are like rascals.
Yeah.
So we do whatever we want. You don't become like us."
Yeah, but
Because
that's
we
the
look,
thing.
we look up to you. Actually, they open
I
come
mean,
and tell.
Honestly, yeah, it's nothing wrong being angry, but the thing is, you have to know your audience.
Yes.
But that point is also important, like you said, to be a kind and friend. So that's the one. As soon as we trying to become different from them, they will also get repulsion. And they said he think himself
Yeah.
this person.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
have to, like Prabhu was saying, you listen, then you have to understand how I'm going to bridge this with this guy or this person, how to bridge so that they don't get offended. Or sometimes you can't give the whole barrel of information. You can't say, oh, this knowledge coming from this place, from Brahma through Narada and then Vyasa, like that. Hey, what are you
And
talking
through me
about?
to you.
Yeah, so this is disciplic succession. No, you have to be expert in the way that the person can listen to,
Surrender now. Or
And
you go to
initially
hell.
they don't listen.
surrender now or you go to hell, like all these things. Or you get bad karma. It's like, what is this? Actually, what is there to say? Just the main thing we can always say is, that our philosophy is there's a wonderful place, spiritual world, and there's no problems there, no misery, where we want to go and enjoy ourselves with the Lord. That's all they want to hear. Enjoy.
Would you like to party? Would
Yeah,
you like to party?
exactly. You want to
Dancing
have
and singing?
parties, singing. Every step is a dance.
Everybody's
Every
a song.
word is a song.
Yeah.
Every meal is a feast. Yeah. So Once they are ready, then you can give, then they will be like, oh my God, there's so much to do. You'll find even a 5-year, 10-year devotee don't know many things in our books. I mean, we don't expect you to memorize everything, but at least certain information also they know. Why? Because we are not even reading Prabhupada's books. So it's a problem. If you read everyday Prabhupada's book, you will be able to speak in simple sentences, because Prabhupada says it in so simple way to people, and they'll say, wow, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They'll say that's a good. And you listen to people give nice classes, so you can get good, nice ways to present philosophy. Right? There's so many qualified people on the internet who are giving amazing classes. Yeah? So learn the important things. Yeah? Alright, so thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 21st chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Conversation between Manu and Kardama. Tomorrow we'll do 22nd, the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki.
So anything